Okay, so I'm going to ask you a slightly odd question, in that it seems like the answer is obvious. When was Little Hope set? If your answer is 2020, because that's the year it came out, I completely understand where you're coming from. At first, that's what I assumed as well. After all, while Man of Medan is set in the present day, according to the Tate line, the specific present is August 2019. We know this because Fliss has a letter from her bank informing her that her August loan payment is overdue, and she's written on the back of it her planned income for that month, which includes the $5,000 she'll be getting from Julia's dive trip. Ergo, Man of Medan is taking place during August 2019, not coincidentally at all, the same month in which the game was released. So yeah, I get why the assumption could be made that Little Hope is set on May 27th, through 28th, 2020. That's what present day means, right? Except, unlike Fliss's letter, there's no supporting evidence for that assumption. Nowhere in the game do we see a piece of paper letting us know what year it is, just the date that comes up when introducing the character and location. The series isn't shy about jumping around in time. Prologues are set anywhere from 50 to 4,000 years away from the main action of the game, after all. And House of Ashes is set in May 2003. We also know that Directive 8020 is going to be set in the far-flung future. I'm guessing 2107, but that's based on something very silly that I'll talk about another time. So with all of these time jumps present in the series, how can we be sure of exactly when Little Hope is set? There's only one piece of evidence that we can use to determine its temporal location, but in order to contextualize it, we'll have to talk a little about how television is produced. In The Devil in Me, we learn that the crew of Architects of Murder is filming the final episode of their first season. It's important to note that, by all appearances, Architects of Murder is not a network or even a cable show. It's a syndicated true crime show, which means it's not being aired as it's produced, the way something like Dateline or 2020 is. This kind of show will be created by an independent production company, commissioned by a broadcaster, who then gets them the money they need to film the rest of the season. All of the episodes will be filmed and delivered to the broadcaster as they're edited, but will not start airing until the entire show has been delivered. Once the show is aired, a decision will be made about whether to commission more episodes. For a long-running and successful series like Ancient Aliens or Forensic Files, a show will likely just be in constant production, almost like it were a network show. But something just starting out like Architects of Murder, still in its first season with a small order of episodes, would not be filming while the episodes are airing. When we meet the cast of Devil in Me, they're preparing their final episode, and have just put together some kind of a pitch package suggesting that they're currently looking for funding for Season 2. That's what Dumet is watching in the basement at the very start of Act 1. Charlie's triumphant line at the end of the successful escape about having an idea for Season 2 has convinced him that their adventure on the island will ensure a renewal for their show. And he's probably right about that. They still have to turn in that final episode of Season 1, though. Since there's no references to the show being aired or people reacting to it, the only reference to the press we get is Kate's mention of being on a local Chicago show, presumably to promote the fact that they're filming a true crime show right there in town. We can conclude that Architects of Murder is not on television yet when the game is taking place. Television episodes have weeks to months of turnaround, and with the small crew Lana Productions is working with, it would be physically impossible for them to be meeting a weekly release schedule while still filming episodes. Architects of Murder will air once they've delivered a producer's cut of all the episodes in the season, giving broadcasters a chance to make any changes they want. Why is this so important? Here's a magazine we can find in Little Hope. It references an upcoming episode of Architects of Murder about the Zodiac Killer. We don't know how long the magazine has been there. Probably not more than a couple of weeks, given the fact that it hasn't been absolutely destroyed by the elements. This means that whenever Little Hope is set, it's definitely taking place after the events of The Devil in Me. Because in that game, Architects of Murder hasn't seen the light of day. Does this provide a canonical ending in which the characters survive? No, not at all. The H.H. Holmes episode they're working on is the last episode of the season, so they've already got somewhere between 5 and 10 episodes in some degree of completion. This means that were the Architects of Murder crew to mysteriously disappear before finishing their final episode, the broadcaster would be able to simply complete and air the episodes that had already been delivered or partially finished. Honestly, it would be a pretty attractive thing to promote in the true crime world. This is the show by true crime people who disappeared while making it. That's a hell of a selling point. Who knows? They might even find another production company to keep the thing going, even if none of the original crew were around. While we can't say for sure exactly what happens with the production and airing of Architects of Murder, we can say that all of it happened before the events of Little Hope. Since we know exactly when Devil in Me happened, the letter to Morello pegs it as October 2022. The absolute earliest that Little Hope could possibly be set, and indeed the most likely option, is overnight, May 27th to May 28th, 2023. Which, fun fact, is just 3 days shy of the 20th anniversary of the events of House of Ashes. Oh, and for the record, I know that there's a discrepancy in Devil in Me where we're told that everybody's getting there on a Friday, but the date given is a Wednesday. But of course, that's just probably a leftover set of dates from when the script was being originally written back in 2018, which is the last time those dates and days of the week lined up. The Morello letter is completely explicit that the game was supposed to be set in 2022, just like the Clue screenshot of that letter makes it explicit that the game was originally supposed to be set in 2021. So adjust your timelines accordingly. Little Hope is set in 2023. I'm as surprised as anyone by that twist. Next time, I'm excited to dig a little deeper into the events of Devil in Me so we can figure out what exactly was going on with Grantham Demet. For now, though, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more, there's buttons coming up to help with that. Questions, comments, or suggestions for things we should cover here in the Dark Pictures franchise, go in the comments section below the video. We'll see you back here for more Dark Pictures videos, but until then I'll say that's right. Au revoir.